What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Mike Maxis.
What's going on, man?
What's going on?
Solo Jolo. Solo Jolo. Oh, Jesus.
So look, I'm a Godzilla fan, okay?
We were just here in solidarity and solitude after recording some shit. We were just watch this video about the MonsterVerse.
The MonsterVerse has a problem. Here's how to fix it.
Not even 2 minutes in, my boy is already going off. I feel rightfully so, honestly. I couldn't agree with my boy more. I just don't even know this guy.
I'm starting to get hot.
I don't feel
at this guy
at all, and I haven't even heard his
I'm
point.
going to hear him out, but
right, because we haven't even heard his point.
I have not even heard his point.
We already disagree, though.
But I already the.
I miss the old MonsterVerse.
No, how? I'm sorry.
Contrary to belief, the MonsterVerse super fandom seems to be shrinking, not growing. And while a ton of casuals are watching the movie once and then leaving it alone forever, the diehards are slowly losing interest, which I think is a damn shame. The last few...
I am a diehard, and I have never been more interested in the movies ever.
It was like...
Every time a piece of anything of this comes out, I am on it.
I wasn't interested in Godzilla at all until these movies.
And now I
wasn't interested in seeing a Godzilla anything at all.
Bro, I went and dragged y'all to see. I could damn near couldn't pay y'all to fucking go see fucking Godzilla King of the Monsters. And then when I did get, Jarvis couldn't even stay awake through most of it. Granted, it was like at 10 o'clock or some shit.
Yeah.
But he couldn't even stay awake through most of it.
Still, like...
And y'all don't even... And it was like... That movie was carried by just the super fans because a lot of the casual people didn't really care for it. Because they don't know nothing about King Ghidorah. They don't know nothing about Mothra. They know who Godzilla is. And also, it was the whole fucking movie took place in the rain, in the snow, in the dark.
Just like all the fucking past, goddamn.
Folks don't even know that Ghidorah was golden. Did you know that he was gold?
You wouldn't have known.
You wouldn't have known that.
I wouldn't have
because
known.
the whole movie was blue.
Had I not seen media outside of those movies.
The whole movie was blue, so you wouldn't have known that motherfucker literally has gold, literal gold coming off of his body.
Like, here we are, Godzilla versus Kong. In the latest one, we couldn't be more interested in it, honestly. Come on now, I don't know what you even mean there. I think he's objectively wrong here, but hey, I don't know for sure.
We're gonna hear him out.
Films and external content has been fun, there's no denying that. But I don't think I stand alone when I say I truly do miss the old days of the MonsterVerse. And now that I got your attention, the vibes the franchise of giants was throwing out pre-Godzilla vs. Kong was just better in my opinion. And I'm going to give you my reasons on why I truly do believe this, and how the MonsterVerse can improve going forward so it can avoid the dreaded title of being called stale. This is by no means me saying that the last 5 years of MonsterVerse content has been bad, by the way. I just think we've yet to hit peak kaiju entertainment, and that's a good thing. The recent focus on the kaiju over the humans in the MonsterVerse has been oh so good. While other franchises are struggling to not succumb to burnout and bad decisions, the MonsterVerse is having to only figure out how to continue to get better and grow. Which just shows how special Godzilla, Kong, and these iconic characters are that over 10 years later, we still have a franchise that feel like it's only going to continue to get better. And since we're in the period of time to where the next major film is in pre-production, they're starting writing for the filming probably around now. Now's a good time for us, the community, to share what we want to see, and how we think the franchise can truly get better. All this and a special guest you won't want to miss. So sit down and relax, and let's get to it. Some of you may not agree, but I truly do miss the old MonsterVerse. I'm not saying I miss any specific film. I'm not going to argue that any movie is vastly superior to the others for that matter. However, the franchise has lost, at least I think, what made it so special for superfans. People that want to do more with their passion for a franchise than just get all excited for 3 months while the movie's about to come out and then forget about it pretty much forever. In short, I miss the mystery and intrigue of this franchise the most. At this point, nothing feels deeper than the surface level with the franchise's way of writing. It's not going in the direction of a powerful cinematic universe that could go on to be loved for decades to come, like the franchise that's sponsoring this video.
Dawn Trail is the latest expansion for the highly praised different job with 2.
The lore has been cast flat out telling us everything there is to know and not really going all that in depth with it. The Scar King and the Kongs are a perfect example here. Now let me be very clear. The scene with Kong going into the Scar King's lair is easily one of the best in Godzilla x Kong, maybe even one of the best in the entire franchise. We finally get to see the Kong civilization that has been foreshadowed since Kong Skull Island. But when it came to the greater lore behind the Hollow Earth Kong civilization, all we got was bad ape do bad things, make Godzilla mad, Godzilla trap monkey, monkey want to kill surface world for no reason at all other than just because. Practically no effort was put into making an intriguing backstory for the Scar King and his Kong clan. I'm pretty sure I even put more thought into creating a backstory for the Scar King and all these Kongs in some theory videos I made on the channel here than they did. And that just shouldn't ever even be close to being a possibility, I think. And yes, I will admit I'm a stickler for IPs going above and beyond with their expanded lore. But hey, I was spoiled with 2005's King Kong. They pretty much made like an encyclopedia for that island with all the animals and the lore that
I can't agree with. I can agree that the lore itself has not been expanded upon for real in the past 2 movies. However, room for lore, like the world building, has definitely, it's been more so focused on world building instead of lore.
Yeah.
But we can fix that in the next movie. They're getting a new director. Hopefully, Jesus Christ. Hopefully, I am actually worried about the next movie, but I don't know, man. We're gonna have to just wait and see. But I am worried about the next movie because of the circumstances surrounding why Adam's not directing it anymore, and it's only scheduling conflicts is the reason why. Yeah. And Legendary doesn't want to wait for bruh to finish his movie, and it's like, which I do understand, but it's like
it is concerning.
Now, granted, do we really need Adam to make another one? No, because he already did 2 of them. He kind of did his thing already.
Yeah. Not necessarily.
So I actually do want us to have a different director. I don't want us to have just the same director, because then it will get stale.
Yeah.
But basically, I hope that. And I think just now that we're 5 minutes in, I realize that I guess that he's finna basically propose that we have the spectacle of the last 2, but the lore and intrigue and tone of the last 4 or 5 movies that we had before those. And I don't totally disagree with that. I'm all for more expanded lore and stuff. I do not want this stuff to just be popcorn flick, material. I do want, a long-standing, franchise. But it's already been 10 years. It's been long-standing.
It's been long-standing already. So, I guess I can understand where you're coming from. Yeah.
I can understand where you're coming from. I don't necessarily agree, but I don't agree that there's a problem.
Yeah, no, I don't agree. I don't think that is necessarily a problem.
I don't agree that it's a problem yet. I think it's a little early to call it a problem. I understand that he's disappointed that we didn't go into the backstory or whatever, but bruh, this movie isn't like, these movies cost millions of dollars, and the other movies that did go super deep into the lore, when I brought my normie friends that aren't Godzilla fans in there, they couldn't stay awake through the shit. So compromises have to be made.
I'll
put the lore in the novelizations or the comics or something else.
I've been very satisfied with how concise and put together and consistent these movies have been all the way through. You feel me? I can actually follow it you know, period. You feel me? So, you know, adding lore and intrigue is all well and good, but like, if it's at the expense of having a movie make sense, then it's like.
And I know he said he's not advocating for a certain or for a specific movie, but Kong Skull Island, up until we've had these last 2 films, was the best one we got, and that junk didn't have no crazy lore. It did have like, what is it? Nods and stuff to lore, to deeper lore, but it didn't spend like 20 minutes talking about lore. We didn't have no exposition. We had cave paintings and fucking dude from Step Brothers interpreting the Iwi people. John C. Reilly is interpreting the Iwi people and saying that Kong's just a baby and he's gonna get bigger. That's pretty much all the lore we got. He's like he's been cause he don't know he been there since 1945 or some shit, and Kong was already there, still big as hell. So. And then that John alluded to us even getting Godzilla and Kong. Like, that was as much as the lore as we got.
You know
what I'm saying?
I fear that if you flood this type of movie with like with too much deeper intrigue and bigger spectacle stuff to think about, you're gonna make it a lot more stupid than it needs to be. Because it get very stupid very quickly if you start goddamn hinting and goddamn space kaiju already. And we trying to fight this monkey nigga on the ground right now. You know, but I can understand what he means. You know, so actually having a little more goddamn, you know, build up to something.
Here's my specific issue: is that it's not that he's wrong or invalid for having this perspective. It's just that I've been watching Dangerville for quite some time, y'all. And I just happen to remember when pre-Godzilla vs. Kong and we were in the middle of King of the Monsters and motherfucking all that other shit.
Yeah.
I distinctly remember saying that, oh, you know, the mystery and the lore is all well and good, but I would really like to get more screen time and more kaiju action and more be able to actually see what's going on, and I would like more focus on the monsters.
You know, it's always something.
If we're focusing more on the monsters, what's going to be the vessel for the lore?
You know, it's always something to remember. This stuff takes screen time, and these movies are already extremely long. You know, we don't want to spend that much more time away from the main reason we're here to see the movie. We came to see these big ass things punch. You feel me? So it's like, it's all well and good, and it is needed, but I mean, how much do we need? How much do we need in the movie?
We definitely need some in the movies.
In the movies, we need some. But how much is he wanting here? You know.
I guess that's what I hope he gets to that. Like, do you want what do you want?
It was just more than we needed, but I love that. It was just nice to have something there for the superfans who wanted to know more about this mysterious island. Looking at 2005 King Kong, it's insane how much effort was put into the lore for a single one-off film. The current MonsterVerse simply answers all the mysteries of the franchise's more cryptic past with, in my opinion, elementary school grade answers. And on top of that, these answers typically neutralize any other theory possibilities, pretty much ripping the fun out of delving deep into the lore when you know the answer to your question will likely be answered with a just because answer. And I cannot forget to mention that this applies to all the external marketing material as well for the films. Take a look at some of the old cool stuff we used to get to help us get all hyped up for what was next in a mysterious and intriguing way. Even the way the lore is given to us for the MonsterVerse has severely degraded. Check out these monster profiles as well as some other stuff from Kong Skull Island. So much effort was put into these things, making it look like we were actually looking at actual top secret reports from the 70s. Fast forward to the way the lore is given to us now, and well, I assume you can see the drop off in the amounts of fucks given when it comes to giving the fandom more lore. Going forward, I would like to actually see the MonsterVerse creators actually care about the external material, truly looking into the expanded lore and the events that happen outside the current film's events. And for the love of Godzilla, whoever's working on the next projects, please just take a few days to go and look through and read the comic books for the MonsterVerse. Skim through the books as well, and stop contradicting past work just because you're too damn lazy to look at it. These folk get paid a lot of money, like a lot of money to make these movies. I'm talking about the upper echelon people too, not the lowly workers that are really putting the thing together. And it's about time that the minds behind the MonsterVerse start taking a week of their pre-production time going over and learning what there is to learn on the thing that's about to make them very rich. I mean, reading the books is one thing, but these are short books, and even if you don't look at the books, you can look at the comics, and looking at all the comics would take you a few hours, so I just don't understand when it's your job to not just spend at least like a week or two, you know, delving into the universe you're about to get into yourself. Maybe they do that, but I don't know, doesn't seem that way. Give us reasons to get excited for this franchise in ways beyond just another movie or just another show. I really miss making lore content for you guys and having all the fun discussions that we would have after them. That being said though, I'm a huge lore nerd, and I think a good universe with healthy bones is far superior than a franchise that just gets people excited for a couple months every few years and then drifts off into irrelevance. The next most important step for me the MonsterVerse needs to take moving forward is bring back the fear, the terror, and the high stakes of these world-threatening scenarios.
I do want that a lot. I do want human perspective when it's in elevation of the size of the like -1 was really dope with that.
Yeah.
Whereas you're still seeing Godzilla, but you're seeing the humans like it's not cutting to the humans. The humans are just also in the shot. They're in the foreground, and Godzilla's like
you get the perspective.
Yeah.
I feel you.
And monsters. Since Skull Island, there's not been one point in this franchise that has made me feel any bit of suspense and terror. Like, sure, I feel for Godzilla and Kong, but let's be honest, I knew they were never gonna die. And all the human characters' demises that we've seen since Skull Island, save for Serizawa, have been anything but impactful. If anything, death and destruction and all the little emotions that come with that have been completely absent in the MonsterVerse films since Skull Island, actually. Don't get me twisted though, death and despair are obviously still a big part of things in this franchise. Like, just imagine how many people died in the scene. But did you once actually feel terror for these people? I didn't think so. I, like you, was focused on the monsters, and I didn't care about everybody dying because, well, the film's creators didn't want me to. There's nothing wrong with not making a spectacle out of death, but I fear that unless the MonsterVerse brings a more constant level of mortality back to its stories, that at some point, people will become numb to the endless destruction that has no repercussions. It's like every Titan battle helps humanity more than hurts it somehow. We always get better technology and become more advanced after attacks, but we never got to feel the reason why these advancements must happen in the story. Right now they're happening, well, just because. In my opinion, you have to make deaths in your movies matter. And having the Grim Reaper following closely behind our characters would bring something to the franchise I think it hasn't had for a very long time. Audiences just love not knowing when the next person's gonna become past tensed. The entire attack on the surface world by...
But wasn't the whole thing... It's like, I agree, but then we also got to make human characters that we care about, and we hadn't done that until these past two movies. Like, I distinctly remember people saying, we don't care about these human characters, they're boring, and they keep cutting to them, we want to see the monsters.
You know, it's like... Doing this wasn't good, but you'd have to... You really would have to spend more time with the character, because it's just showing a depressing segment of this guy spending his last moments fighting for his life, trying to get away from this kaiju fight and dying terribly. It's all well and good, but it's not gonna be nearly as impactful as you think it will be. If you've only seen them in that movie, it's like
in that scene in the movie.
In that scene in the movie, it's like
he ain't even in the beginning. We don't even know this guy's name. I don't know how he's imagining us do this working. Like, is my whole thing. It's like we're not gonna care about the. I thought we didn't care about the humans.
I didn't. I really didn't. You feel me?
I do agree with the bring back a little more of the horror elements and stuff. Like let's do that. Like let's make it a little scary, yeah, for sure. But like the whole movie can't be that.
That would constitute sort of changing.
We would have
the whole
making things scary means making them smaller,
right? Because even the deaths that do sort of happen in these sort of movies, where it's like multiple monsters. It's like me personally, I'm always immediately like, damn. Can we go back to them niggas fighting though? I'm trying. It's like it's not. It hasn't been nearly as impactful as he's saying for me personally. But I mean, I get that.
That's not. It's like I was like, where are they really impactful?
Right, and also,
or is he just saying like because the movie wanted it to feel like the movie in those other movies they spent more time on the death to give us the illusion of the impact, or just spend more time on what would have, what's going on. Like, okay, in this scene, we're seeing people like, okay, if we saw the little kid's mom or some shit die in that scene, or something, it's like, but it's still, I mean, yeah, that would have been sad, that would have been fucked up, but it's like
sad, but it's like, it wouldn't necessarily be nearly as impactful as he's trying to make it out to be. And also, I just want to go back to talking about the whole longing for like the sort of lore and theorizing sort of thing you were talking about earlier. It's like not everybody's gonna be really into sitting around. They're trying to map out completely. Some people just kind of like just consume the content. I feel like that was a very I don't know.
But I mean, it's from his he's a lore channel.
Yeah, he's a lore channel that does lore content. So I feel
like I get where it's coming from. I don't think it's invalid. It's just
I'm not saying it's invalid. I'm just it's I don't know. It feels very biased. The way he making it. He made the way he talked about it. It made it feel like he was trying to make it seem more important than some other aspects of the movie. These movies bring to the table, and I don't know,
like asses and seats, so we can continue to actually have.
It's like
MonsterVerse. I think to add to the horror stuff, it's like you have to. It depends on the villain, man. Like. Yeah, but that's another thing. It's like I just get the feeling that now we don't know what the next tone's gonna be, but I know it's gonna be at least slightly different than the last two movies because it's a different guy working on it.
Yeah,
he's got a different idea, just like the last guy had a different idea, just like the last guy had a different idea. Like each guy had a completely different idea for. Like the MonsterVerse, it's just that we've gotten in the last 4 years, 4 or 5 years. I think the first one, Godzilla vs. Kong, was 2021, and then 3 years later we get this movie. So 4 years, in total. The last 4 years we've had. One guy directing the movies, but keep in freaking mind, alongside those movies, we had an entire show that delved into the lore and explained all kind of stuff and wrapped around the whole lore. Like, what is he talking about?
That show did a lot.
That show did a lot, and it had the same tone from 2014. And they're making more of that, and they're getting, Gareth Edwards, the director from that movie. He's gonna be doing some working on the show, and we're getting more shows and stuff. So I was like, why is the onus of like the deeper lore gotta be solely on the big movies that's supposed to bring these are the big ticket items. There's like everybody that's coming most people that are coming to this are the casuals.
I really do feel like the movie should be the payoff. Honestly, they should be. Like I don't think.
I don't think the movie is supposed to be setting up nothing as far as like background lore wise. Like, yeah, we do need answers to certain questions, but it's like, and I really wish he would have gave us examples of what's the elementary school answer.
You know, I was waiting for it too.
I was waiting for an example.
He just didn't.
He didn't kind of give me an example because he was like, "Oh, wait a minute, dog." Like, oh god. Yeah, what? No. Oh, I thought I texted you back. Hold on. I guess I come a little later. Okay. An airbag? Mm-hmm. Well, alright, Mama. I'll see you later. Okay. Alright, bye. Anyway, so yeah, we're gonna continue to hear the guy out. I get where it's coming from, but I just don't really agree.
I don't agree that these are actual huge problems, honestly.
Like it is really nitpicky.
Yeah.
Because I don't what's been contradicted is my whole thing. Cause I'm big into the lore too. I'm a big fan. Listen, I'm also a huge Transformers fan. Transformers The Last Night pissed me all the way to fuck off because it contradicted everything. Blatant contradict. Like, even if you watch just the movies, right, it contradicts those things, right? He's talking about movies slightly contradicting the events in the comics, but the comics, the people came out and said the comics are like loosely canon and not all the way canon because they don't want the directors to just like have to adhere to whatever these writers wrote already. So it's like the comics are like loose canon. It's like these events happen, but maybe some of the specifics are up in the air because what if we want to do something different later on?
Yeah.
Like, because you got to keep in mind, this isn't like a full established cinematic universe with a full established lore. Like, they're making all this stuff up as they go.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we're going to get contradictions and plot holes sometimes, which is why they make them, like, loose adaptation stuff. Like, so it's like, I don't know. I think it's a little unfair because unlike the MCU where it's got damn near 100 years of lore to draw from, this doesn't because they're not using old Godzilla lore or old King Kong lore because they'd have to pay Toho for that stuff.
Yeah.
So they have to make up lore as they're going. So each movie has added to the lore a little bit more, and now we've gotten answers to certain questions, and I guess he's disappointed with certain answers because he's been going through
he's a theory chatter, so he's probably been spending hours on top of hours building up these crazy theories, So not that I know, I don't watch the videos at all, but
I mean he has been, but it's like
this is very unfair. I mean, this is a very unfair take.
Yeah, I don't think it's super fair because like we've had 2 movies with this tone, and and to everybody, to everybody, the tone had vastly improved over the other ones because, like, it's brighter, it's more fun. We see everything that's going on. Like, yeah, bring some of the, like, I feel like we should be able to do. I feel like it would be truly impressive to me if we're able to do both, where it's like we see all this stuff in the daytime and they go from intimate shots to wide shots, because that's what Transformers did. You go back to the first 3 movies, we had spectacle, and what they would cut to, like when they would cut to the humans, right? It would be in between. It would be in the middle of the action, like boom, the scene where in the first one they was fighting in the city and fucking Ironhide like was dodging those missiles, and then he like flipped over that girl. Yeah, it's like we clearly see Ironhide, but right here in the foreground is this girl, and the girl's right in front of the camera, but we see Ironhide's covering literally the rest of the fucking screen, and he's jumping smooth over her in slow motion and shit, like super intimate thing. And then we cut, and then right after that we cut to the whole rest of the action and stuff, and it's still shot from like ground level perspective. I think it's really cool. I think that's really cool, but the problem is the Transformers are a lot smaller than these.
Yeah, they're a lot smaller than these.
So a lot of the ground level shots have to be reduced to just like straight up shots. Like in Shin Godzilla, where he was walking around, like you would see the helicopter shots, but then it would cut to the shots of the people walking around with like that infamous shot where his tail's going over the city. Or going over the buildings, looking up, like while you're looking up at it, like. That's awesome. Like, but they did that in this. Like, where is it? Where is that scene at? Where is that scene? In this scene right here. Like, they did it in this scene. And so I just don't. Go to it, man. Where's there? You know where it was. Yeah, this thing right here. It's shot from the ground level perspective. Like we're still getting that. So it's like I'm not. Like I said, I don't think it's a super fair take, but it's valid. It's definitely valid.
Or Louis Duloc.
But I just don't see how he sees this work, like the way he wants it. I don't see how he sees it work.
Getting the beast glove. It's not the heave bug could, and even though they promoted it like one, I never felt like GXK was an actual disaster film, or that the planet was ever truly in danger. And going forward, I would love to have these feelings again regarding the MonsterVerse movies. Tell me if you agree. The next thing I believe the MonsterVerse needs to focus on to make it better is making everything just more relatable again. I enjoy the characters of GXK, but none of them, save for Eileen, are relatable. She is, in my opinion, the only human character in this movie that actually acts like a real human. And like Eileen Andrews' a cool character, but she's never going to be a fan favorite. On top of that, not much feels real in the MonsterVerse anymore, save for some things that Monarch Legacy of Monsters has done. No, I'm not gonna get into a kaiju film realism debate. I could care less if the kaiju are fast moving or not. But what happens around the kaiju, I think, could and should be relatable to the real world as we know it. The monsters aren't real, but the world around them is, at least on the surface. They can get away with some more wacky stuff in the Hollow Earth. Throwing in superior to Star Wars tech can be fun and helps make the kiddies demand their parents buy them more toys. But it doesn't help make a movie more memorable. The scene from Godzilla x Kong that people are going to be talking about 10 years from now, it's not going to be Kong getting the beast glove. It's not the heave bug thing changing colors on command. And it's certainly not whatever this is. You know the scene I speak of. Literally Kong using a child like a weapon, man. This scene is pure gold, and there was no silly sci-fi human technology. Just a grumpy old man using the tools the natural world had given him at that time. Speaking of relatable, you know we've all thought about doing this with the annoying toddler in the family a time or two. Don't actually do that. But yeah, we don't need Godzilla 2014 Ultimate Realism, but it sure wouldn't hurt to make the characters and events feel more plausible, and like it could actually happen. Something that made the MonsterVerse so special and taken seriously in the first part of its lifespan. There's already tons of silly, over-the-top kaiju movies out there, and honestly, I don't want to see the MonsterVerse become that. I don't want to see it become nothing more than just a Fast and Furious style franchise. Lastly, and maybe the one thing most of you guys are going to agree with me on, is that I want the Titans to be godlike again. You heard me before, I love the focus on the Titans of late as actual characters. It's been a blast to see them finally shown in all their glory on the big screen. However, to me, it kind of feels like Looney Tunes meets WWE meets big giant monsters, you know? The mystery surrounding them is gone. The awe-inspiring, fear-inducing presence of them feels dampened and ignored in favor of flashy action scenes and attempts at humor. For lack of better words, they just don't feel special anymore. They feel more like giant Pokemon than these godly entities from a long-forgotten time. I love Pokemon, but these ain't pocket monsters. But I don't want this video to only be my opinion. Here's Godzilla Guy, and he's gonna give you his take on how the MonsterVerse can improve moving forward.
Hi everyone, it's Godzilla Guy, and thank you Dangerville for having me on. And here are a few things I personally want to see fixed and or addressed in the MonsterVerse. Firstly, the old timeline. One major issue the MonsterVerse has is a tendency to constantly contradict itself within its own lore. Did Shinamura exist? Kinda. Was it the Prime or the Muto duo that caused Godzilla to change his dorsals? We don't know. The funniest thing is that there's a mythological department in Legendary, whose job is supposed to make sure the timeline is clean and smooth. And well, they either just don't show up to work or they just don't care. Another thing with the old timeline, all they ever do in modern films is talk about the ancient battles, all the cool rivalries Godzilla had with other kaiju. But you know what they never do? Show them. All we get to see is poorly lit cave carvings and painting of said battles. All we want as fans is to see these flashbacks, even if it's just for a few seconds. Just telling us what happened is kind of a punch in the gut. Number 2 is also having better humans. The MonsterVerse has suffered with good characters recently. I mean, Bernie, Eileen, and the group, they're okay. There's a reason why Bryan Cranston and both the Russells' performances are so well praised. People think kaiju films either have little kaiju screen time but good characters, or a lot of kaiju screen time but bad written characters. Which is just wrong. You can have awesome action with good characters. It is possible. And on number 3, getting some new kaiju. The MonsterVerse has set up so many kaiju that they just never show, like Mokele Membe, Typhon, Binyup. Now, don't get me wrong, Ghidorah, Rodan, Mothra, and Mecha were super cool to see, but I think most fans can agree that we want to see a new kaiju step up and challenge Godzilla. And I mean, you know, there's Shima, but come on, she wasn't really a threat to Godzilla. Bringing new kaiju on the table will only do good. We'll get new theories, new toys, new
Godzilla's not worried about
and
it
of
at all.
course, new debates.
There's another thing. That's like a theory that I do have. I don't really get into like super nerdy like theory crafting or nothing. But it is my theory is that there is no way Godzilla got that powerful in the movie just to fight them two.
Yeah.
I didn't believe that. That's one thing that I was like, now wait a minute, bro.
That final fight was the ass whooping out.
You telling me Godzilla couldn't have 1v2'd that?
Yeah, no, he definitely could have whooped both their ass completely.
Or at least the help with what? Because it wasn't really a 2v2. It was really a 3v2 because Mothra was there.
Yeah, well, yeah, MonsterVerse, yeah.
Mothra was there. So, my theory is that Godzilla was getting strong because he's saying some other shit. And then, like, because remember, Godzilla wasn't heading toward the Hollow Earth. Kong, he wasn't finna go down there until Kong came up there and had to drag him down there. So that tells me that I'm like, wait a minute. So he wasn't even. Why was he doing that? It's on Max. We can watch it here.
Okay,
we can watch it tonight.
It's gonna go hard. He was going around killing everybody. He was running around, goddamn collecting powers and shit. Look, he
That's
had
what
to
I'm
be.
saying. Like,
He wasn't. It seemed like he wasn't even worried about it.
He wasn't worried about none of that shit. Now, I do agree with what Godzilla guy is saying, though. I do agree with that. I do want better characters and more action, and I do want more like suspense building. I do want it to be a little grittier. I don't want it to turn into a Saturday morning cartoon. I agree with that. I just think that the majority of what bro was saying earlier is more nitpicky than this is like a devastating issue. because I feel like if the trajectory, because if you remember, before Godzilla vs. Kong, the MonsterVerse, Godzilla vs. Kong saved the MonsterVerse because
it saved it completely.
The trajectory it was going, it was finna not be able to. We was finna not be able to keep doing it. So it's like this tone shift saved the whole franchise. So I just feel like it's unfair to be like, oh, it's elementary, it's this, that, and the third, or it's. I know he didn't say it was bad. I know he said he enjoyed it, but he said he misses the old tone. But it's like, I don't believe that tone was gone. It's just we had the same director that, like, you know, we just had the same director for the past two movies, who I don't think ignored anything. They just, and then he was like, and then the other guy was like, we don't got the answer to. I was like, I could have sworn it was the Muto Prime. It was the Muto Prime that tore his scales, or fucked his dorsal fins up, and then he grew them back. The Muto duo didn't do it because we saw him kill both of them in the movie. So I don't understand what he was talking about right there. Because I'm like, obviously the duo didn't do that. It was the Muto Prime that happened in the comic book, or whatever, that he ended up killing.
Yeah, that's just my opinions. Thank you, Dangerville, for having me on. And anyone watching, if you want to see your favorite kaiju battle it out once a week, then make sure to check out my channel, Godzilla Guy, GODZILLAGUY. Again, thank you, Dangerville. Everybody, make sure to subscribe here, of course, as well. And as always, keep collecting, everybody. See ya.
Dang it, I want a cute little Godzilla cartoon thing. Make sure to go check Godzilla Guy out. He's a good dude. So what does the MonsterVerse need to do to get better, in my opinion? We need to
Those fake ads really drive you mad, huh? The game looks so fun in the ads, but when you download it,
see the humans reacting accurately to the death and destruction around them. No more cracking jokes when your buddy gets turned into mulch, alright? I want the high stakes to actually feel high, like really super high, like Snoop Dogg high. We need to actually see and feel the horror of a kaiju attack if it was real. And it wouldn't hurt to stop being anti-military because this is a movie, not real life. Take a look at -1, for example. I really do believe that now is the perfect time for the MonsterVerse creators to take parts of the old movies, the new movies, and fuse them together into the ultimate.
Exactly what I thought I was gonna say. It was like, just take the parts that was fire, which is what I think that's like the most reasonable thing. Let's take the parts that was fire from the older movies and the parts that are fire from these past two movies, and let's have an ultimate. That's the ultimate tone. But the thing is, do we trust Hollywood to do that correctly?
I don't know if they can get done correctly.
Especially in our current climate.
Right now, I don't think they can get done correctly. But it is definitely a nice thought.
Like, that would be great. But I don't want them to ruin. See, here's the thing. I don't want them to ruin the movie trying to do that. And failing miserably.
You know, I'm nervous.
Because, like, you run the risk of, okay, boom, you trying to do that. You run the risk of the movie being fucking 3 hours long. Because you want to establish motives for all these characters. But what if you don't make the characters... I don't know, man. You gotta be able to make the characters likable in like 30 seconds, bro. I've seen it happen. I've been to like film festivals. I've been to like art classes and film classes and stuff, like workshops and stuff, where I've seen people break down how you can make characters, make an audience fall in love with a character in like 90 seconds, and then you can do whatever you want at that point. So it's like, it's possible. It's possible, but it's like, we're not gonna get, and I do like also agree is like, what the fuck's going on with the mythology team? I was like, there's a mythology team. Like, what is going on with y'all? Because yeah, I do agree that we're not getting like the was like the ARG style marketing that we used to get, and I do miss that. So it's like, okay, so after seeing the whole thing, I don't totally disagree, but I don't know. There's certain parts of it I'm disagreeing, but I guess. In thinking about it now that I've collected myself, I don't say these people are wrong, because when you get right down to it, we kind of both come to the same conclusion. Where it's like, I do think they should take the best parts from the whole franchise and go and like recognize. But the problem is, do I trust them to recognize what was good from everything?
Right. I'm nervous on them even maintaining. See what they do to maintaining even with what we have now. So I don't know, but hey, like I said, it's definitely a nice thought.
Yeah. So that's our thoughts on it. No shade to Dangerville. I love Dangerville. Been watching these guys for years, many years. Subscribe to them, but before you subscribe to them, subscribe to us, man. But we want to know what y'all think, man. Let us know. Like, am I tripping? Like, is he correct? Is he all the way right? Or you know, like, are we correct? Like, I don't even want it to be a us versus him, because it's just a discussion. We should be talking about.
It's a discussion, and at the end of the day, we both want this IP to flourish more
right
at the end of the day. So
because
like, it's not even
me and this guy are both super fans. So then that's why it's like I am not a casual whatsoever. Like, I'm still waiting for my damn Godzilla -1 figure to come in the mail. Ordered that shit months ago. But I am by no means a casual Godzilla fan. I've been a Godzilla fan since I could walk. And on just one other super fan's perspective is that, you know, this shit has only gotten better. I don't really, in the movie itself, me personally, I don't really need a fucking lore dump exposition 20-minute, you know what I'm saying? I don't really need that. I actually would prefer smaller things in the background that I gotta pick up on later. Like, I would prefer implications more than just straight up answers. I do agree that we shouldn't really get straight up answers anymore. We shouldn't get straight up answers. I think I do miss the mystery of it. So yeah, let's bring some of that mystery back. Let's bring some of the, not necessarily horror, but let's bring some of the suspense back. And yeah, let's raise the stakes a little bit without necessarily raising the scope. Because, I mean, we can't really do much more grander things from here. You done already brought an alien from space. We done had the damn giant monkey man come from underground. Like, I don't really know where we go from here. They're gonna have to. They're gonna have to do something cool. Yeah. But they're like, this new director is. I'm just hoping and praying that this guy. We're gonna look up who the new director is, and like see what all he's done, and maybe I'll get a better understanding of what he may do. But there is gonna have to be a tonal shift regardless, because we've had two movies with the same tone.
Yeah, it's gonna change regardless.
But yeah, that's our opinion on it. As always, guys, we will see y'all in the next one. Peace out, man.